Everybody, welcome to the Art of Reading Smoke. Third time's the charm, I hope. So I was having trouble. I posted this twice already today, and both times there's been, it's just been really glitchy. And so I'm hoping that this third time's the charm, and in fact, we can get it going. So thanks to GTR Boy, there's a link in the post to their site, and you can see them here. And so we're on scene. This is a motorcycle enthusiast club, right? It says Outlaws, I believe, up there. And there's a lot of police officers here. And this is at night, and they're going to have a lot of trouble getting in. And so they're going to end up going through the window. But there's some things that we can learn, we can watch. So reading smoke at night is definitely challenging, right? It's definitely tough to read smoke at night. But we see a little bit of laminar, thin, grayish in here. Later we'll see that there's a little bit coming out of the top here. They're actually cutting a hole in this gate, and I assume when they get in there, at least my assumption would be, if I was doing it, that I'm going to have an equal difficulty getting inside the door. So there's our window that there's a little bit of smoke coming out, but the rest of these windows are clear, right? They're not blacked out. You can see through them. If you shine a flashlight on, I'm sure you can see right through there. And so that would be an indicator to me that we don't have a massive raging fire in here as of yet, right? Sometimes when these buildings are really tight, like this one probably is with this much forcible entry to get in, the fire could be in decay, right? Which can present its own risks, but it may not be that big so far, right? So they're going to break this window, and what we're going to see is we want to look, once that window's broken, we want to look at what the smoke conditions are to give us an idea of the relative size of the fire, the scope of the fire, what we can understand about it from looking at from reading the smoke coming out of the window. All right, so that's what we're trying to accomplish. In fact, we're going to get back over here, and you can see already, right, it's laminar, a little bit of laminar, thin, black. It looks black to me, and that might be a vagary of the light at night, but I think that's black smoke. Really nice neutral plane, very high in the window, and the volume is low enough that I don't think this is a major fire, at least at this point. And because the neutral plane ends up so high in the window, I think it's also relatively, I think that's telling you it's relatively remote from this window. Now they're going to reposition the ladder, and they're going to get a line in here, and we're going to see that they're able to get the line in and advance it relatively quickly. And they move a lot of line in here, which supports the idea that the fire is not right next to where they're accessing here. If it was, there'd be significantly more smoke coming out of the window. Now, as they make, so recognize that for some distance, right, when we make these ventilation openings, fresh air is going in, smoke is coming out, we have that neutral plane and bidirectional flow. And so once they get in here, to locate the fire, they can use reading smoke, both from the smoke coming out and the air track going in. So that we'll start with the air track going in is going to the seat of the fire, right? And so the fresh air is coming in, and it's going to be making its way to the seat of the fire. The smoke is coming from the seat of the fire, right? So as they're moving in the smoke, that smoke should be moving towards them, right? Coming from the fire to the window, moving across and pretty much straight on, right? So if they're kind of turn around in there, they can look up and go, okay, which way is the smoke moving? Oh, it's coming from here. Then you can move that way, and there should be relatively good visibility. Certainly I would guess at least the 3 to 4 foot level in here, might be higher if this is a higher ceiling, like a 10 or 12 foot ceiling. The visibility might be great up to even 5 or 6 feet. So once they get 2 firefighters in here, then somebody's going to be feeding them hose, and they're going to make progress really fast. You'll be able to see lots of hose going in very quickly, which that's one of the things as an incident commander I would do once if I got in a position where I could see the lines, how they're moving and whether they're open or closed and those sorts of things tell me something about what's going on inside the building without having to have radio comms from the crew on the inside, right? They're working hard, and if they're advancing the line, especially if they're advancing as quickly. You're going to see this line's going to get advanced very, very quickly. They're not doing that in zero vis, high heat environment, right? Or at least they shouldn't be. And I don't think they are here because notice the smoke is still a little bit of laminar thin. It's black. It's gotten a little bit more smoke, but not a lot, right? So the window's been open for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and the fire's just not growing that fast, right? Which tells me the risk for the building is high, but the risk for the fire is relatively low here. So we end up somewhere in the moderate range, at least for my experience, right? And so can we try to save this building with a moderate level of risk? Absolutely. And if you don't do anything, right? If we just say, hey, it's and that's fine. Sometimes that's the right decision too, right? But there is risk to not doing anything. It's not like if this place ends up burning to the ground that there's no risk to firefighters, because you're gonna have a lot of firefighters on scene for a long period of time. Okay, but back to the reading smoke piece. I'm gonna go back just a bit, right? Just a bit to here. Let me make sure we get a clear picture for you of a little bit of laminar thin black with a nice neutral plane and a good air track going in. The line advancing quickly, and they're trying to get that other line. I'm sure they're forcing entry on that door right now. But overall, that tells me that we're moving in the right direction relatively quickly, and this column of smoke is something that I feel is a reasonable risk in this situation, right? For all the reasons that we've talked about. Hey, so there's a list of classes that I've already got scheduled for 2024. We're really back through the NMA, got multiple things going in the fall as well. If you're interested in getting class scheduled this year, hit me up on the direct messages or go to my website, which there's a link in there as well, or come see us, out in Bridgehampton, New York, in Western Massachusetts, in Anoka, Minnesota, at the Mizzou Winter Fire School there in Missouri, and of course leading up to FDIC, where I'll see you in the big room on Thursday, right? I love teaching reading smoke at FDIC. Last year I had the highest draw of any class, and I appreciate fans of the YouTube coming there. And I love to say hi if you're a fan, if you're tuning in regularly. I appreciate that. I really do. I really appreciate it. So for the Art of Reading Smoke with Phil Jose, I'm Phil Jose, and man, I'm out.